Welcome to Revelation Unraveled. I'm your host, William Tapley, also known as the third eagle of the apocalypse and the co-prophet of the end times. Well, would you believe the Antichrist is announcing himself again, and this time in a Cadillac commercial. And I believe this was first shown during the Sochi Winter Olympics. As you know, I've been saying for quite some time now here on YouTube that Bible prophecy is appearing in commercials and in music videos, for example, Psy's video, Gangnam Style. And this year's commercial during the Winter Olympics for Cadillac is very interesting because we see the Antichrist, especially as far as numerology goes. In the opening scene, we see a man standing in front of his opulent backyard pool, and he symbolizes the Antichrist coming up out of the sea. If we look closely, we see that he is wearing 2 wristwatches. The 2 watches are just the beginning of many manifestations in this commercial of the number 2. Because this commercial is a celebration of mankind. And mankind is expressed by the number 2. And 2 over 3, or mankind over God, yields the fraction 2/3 and the decimal point 666, the number of the Antichrist. As the man who symbolizes the Antichrist enters his large opulent home, we notice quite a few more dualities. For example, there are 2 children, there are 2 plants, there are 2 major pieces on this backgammon set, there are 2 large jars against this wall, and there is this very interesting sculpture. This sculpture in front of these 2 large water jars is actually a model of DNA. In other words, a double helix. Notice that manifestation of duality, a double helix. Also, please notice that nowhere in this room is there any religious manifestation. For example, a crucifix or a Bible. Although there are no religious symbols in this man's house, such as this crucifix, there are manifestations of the demonic. As the man strides towards the kitchen area of his home, please notice this interesting painting in the background. Is this a cloud or maybe a UFO? Is this alien technology? And just below we see another manifestation of duality in these 2 bottles. This outdoor garden scene also seems rather strange. Perhaps the face of a demon or horns over the Antichrist's head. The numbers 2 and 6 symbolize mankind because man was created on the 6th day, but on the 2nd full day of creation. And of course, both 2 and 6 have end times significance as well. Just as there are 2 children in this advertisement, there are 2 adults. And of course we know from Bible prophecy that the Antichrist has a partner known as the false prophet. And what would a video about the Antichrist be like without a false miracle? And in the following clip, we see him change his clothes in the fraction of a second. So here we see the Antichrist transform out of his casual clothing through this false miracle, and he takes on a business suit because now he means business. He will become the ruler of the world as he strides through the 2 pillars on either side, the pillars of Boaz and Jachin, the pillars of the Freemasons. Now, I have nothing against successful white males. However, just because mankind can understand the double helix, that does not mean we should worship the creation instead of the Creator. We cannot worship mankind. We cannot worship the Antichrist. And of course, the dashboard of the Antichrist's car shows some very significant numbers. Now, I know a lot of you are laughing at me right now. You're saying, oh, that commercial can't be about the Antichrist. But don't forget, these people are using biblical numerology to announce the arrival of the man of sin. The temperature is 66 degrees. The time is 6:34. And of course that indicates 666 before 3 plus 4 or 7. And that indicates the Antichrist before the number for God, which is 7. So let me ask you skeptics out there, do you really believe those numbers on the dashboard are accidental? And in this final scene of opulence for the Antichrist, he is parked in front of his house, which looks more like a museum. Please notice the shape of the side windows on the automobile, which looks like a pyramid. The bottom of the window line forms the base of the pyramid. In each side we see an angular form towards the top of the pyramid, which is flattened on top, very much like the pyramid on your dollar bill. And in the center of this Illuminati pyramid, which symbolizes the one world government, we see the Antichrist and his all-seeing eye. And of course this Cadillac advertisement concludes with the famous one-eyed salute of the Antichrist. And so in conclusion, I guess it should be pretty obvious, once again the Antichrist is announcing his appearance, and soon he will fulfill Bible prophecy and he will rule the world. And let me also remind you once again that Jesus will use a very powerful weapon to defeat the Antichrist, and that is Mary's Rosary. And if you would like more information, please visit my new thirdeaglemedia.com website.